And today's guest is Tim Rise. I just did it. Oh my God, Tim Jack. So Tim Jack from Rise, and the background on this, and thank you for everybody. People are still joining us, but for the replay and everybody else, the context here is that a few months ago, on one of these tech talks, and before that as well, we had a tech talk dedicated to Meta ad campaigns, and a lot of people found that really interesting. So as a form of paid advertising for DIY touring performers, but also for presenters to really get a boost to ticket sales. Well, we can think of this as a bit of a companion to that kind of idea, because Rise is an online paid advertising platform that's really focused on the music industry, and especially on independent performers. I think we can cover how it gets related to festival presenters, whether festivals or music series or small venues. And the thing is it's a data-driven Tim might choose slightly different language. It's a data-driven media platform that does contextual media placement, which really has been the thrust of especially online advertising, digital advertising for the last 20, 25 years. And it especially promises to increase the visibility and engagement on platforms, on digital platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, which is where music discovery is proliferating in this era, right? It's 2026. So we're well into the 21st century. So the idea is that Tim is going to give a presentation to get everybody up to date on what Rise does. Rise was in the exhibit hall at the Folk Alliance International Conference last January in New Orleans, and then a quick demo of the Rise platform and how it works. And then we can open it up to Q&A and talk about the folks who are here. Thank you very much for being here. What your thoughts and questions are about how this really pertains to independent DIY performers and presenters. Having said that, there was one more thing. People are still coming in, so I get to say one more thing as a preamble. Is that I don't know about you, but I had got cookied, and I see a lot of ads on the socials about, get your music on the playlists, and, explode your following on Spotify for overnight success. I find those to be not only annoying, but also not very trustworthy. And Rise has taken the time to be at the exhibit hall at FAI. They're here. Tim is the CEO and founder to present an alternative, a paid advertising alternative to that kind of noise. And the purpose of this webinar and this tech talk is to really dive into that, to see how paid advertising can be better used by independent performers, by association, hopefully some presenters. And so let's get into it. Hi, Tim Jack. Welcome to the Folk Alliance Region Midwest Tech Talk.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having us on, and for getting the chance to chat with you guys before we started. I'm really glad to be here and meet some of you folks, and hopefully we get to the nuts and bolts of it. But I'm gonna try to make it at least a little bit enjoyable, so we don't get bored.
Well, yeah, this is a bunch of music people. Yes. Short attention spans for the boring stuff.
That's what we want. Yeah. So you let me know if you guys want me to kick it off. I'm ready. If you have any quick questions or anything for me before I get into it, I'm happy to answer them. Whatever you like.
Let's check the chat. Nope, nothing in the chat yet.
Cool.
Let's jump in.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. And just once that pops up, I'll give you guys just a quick intro about me and then we'll get into it. And let's see if we're back in action here. We are, hopefully. Cool. Yeah, if everybody can see that before I get into the slides, my name's Tim Jack. I am the CEO of Rise. Like you said, we sponsored we were one of the many great sponsors of Folk Alliance International, and some of our team went down there and had a really, really good time. A lot of us were fans of all the music and culture that's down there, and we wanted to actually get involved in the conference side of it and had a great time, and that's kind of how we ended up here. And I'm so glad we did, because there's just such different music communities. I'm seeing a lot of interesting, cool looking people's faces and beards and all kinds of stuff. And so I'm here to connect with you guys and share a little bit about what we do. So uh, I want to just preface this by saying something Miguel mentioned is that you guys did a tech talk previously about using meta ads um, to sell tickets when you're touring, and that's a really great webinar to have before this one, because we're in such a different world. So whereas setting up your own ads for touring is on Meta is something great that you guys should do as artists. And then this is just something that's totally different and just in another lane, which is music discovery. How do I find people on digital platforms to discover and listen to my music, often for the very first time? And how do I get them to engage, watch my content, listen to my songs? That's really what Rise is about, and make it very, very easy to do that. So don't think of this as how do I get someone to buy a concert ticket. Think of this as how do I get my music introduced to the people in the first place. And that's the kind of backbone of what Rise is all about. So putting that context out there, I'll get into it. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go hopefully pretty quickly through the slides and give you the walkthrough on what it is, how it works, what it offers, that type of thing. And then I'm going to do a quick screen share of actually going to our campaign creator and showing you how to go about that. And then the most important thing we're going to do is open up questions and make sure you guys feel like your questions are answered as best we can during the time that we have. And so,
Yeah,
Miguel,
yeah,
go
Tim.
ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that on to build on that is that
Yeah,
everybody who's in the audience here, think about if you met Rise at their booth in the exhibit hall at our conference, what would you want to sort of say or ask? That would be the spirit of you know
cool.
of what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, I like that. I like that angle. Thanks for that. Right on. So, and Miguel, like we talked about before, if at any point you need to interrupt and say, hey, like we're getting something here in the chat or whatever we really need to address, let me know, and otherwise we'll save it for after. Does that sound good?
That would be a yes.
Cool. All right, I'm getting into it. So, starting off, little intro slide here. The most important thing to know about Rise, especially as it is compared to any other platform that might be out there, is we always guarantee a minimum outcome for every campaign. So guarantee results for every artist is something that is a very difficult proposition that we've been able to master over the past 6 years, running tens of thousands of campaigns and kind of building a lot of data in our system to be able to achieve that. I'll explain in a little piece how we actually are able to do that as well. Um, so performance-based marketing for the music industry. Who would have thought? Um, so this is something interesting. There's something you said earlier made me think of this. This is actually the very first slide. So 86% of all music on Spotify has less than 1,000 streams. And that's just a statistic. You could look it up. Spotify has published that actually. And so what that means is that most people put out music and they either do absolutely no promotion at all, or they try to promote it organically and they don't do very much, or they just don't make it very far when they do that. And certainly the algorithm does not pick up that music. It does not recommend it to more people. And all social media content on the internet is algorithm driven. So Spotify is no different, the same way that a catchy video on TikTok is going to explode the more engagement it receives at the beginning of that video being posted. Uh, the music is very similar in that if there's engagement in the beginning, then it's more likely to be picked up by the algorithm. So creating one single Rise campaign can put an artist um, in the top 15% of all music on Spotify. And that's not to say we're making people famous or putting on the charts. It's just to illustrate the fact that even a small amount of intentional promotion makes an enormous difference when you talk about rising above the noise. Um, so just remember that it's just the effort that goes into it, and a lot of people don't do very much. So doing a little bit can go a long ways. Um, that is the opportunity. So, and this is not just all about Spotify, but that's going to be a big focus because that's where streaming happens. So, um, what's going on out in the marketplace is that people do actually, the people that are spending money on promotion, they do waste a lot of that money, and so there's a lot of different ways that it's wasted. No transparency is probably the evil of them all, because you don't know, when transparency isn't present, you don't know what's happened to the budget and what the results really are or where they really came from. And that could be very good, that could be very bad, but the problem is that you don't know. So that's not something that we like. Rise is completely transparent. We actually have full length blog articles with screenshots posted on exactly how we generate listeners and traffic for music. Fake engagement is obviously, we all know about bots and fake listeners and things like that. There's a lot of policing and weeding out of those types of things that has increased over the years. So it's better, but it's not eliminated. So fake engagement is still a problem. Um, One that's really tricky is unpredictable results, meaning I promote with a budget one song this time and it goes pretty good. And then the next time I come back to that other platform and I run another campaign, I get nothing or very little for the budget that I spent. And then certainly there are a lot of expensive ways to advertise, like hiring an agency with monthly fees and percentages of ad spend and things like that. So Rise solves all of those problems. Um, so $0 in monthly fees. Transparency is present all at all stages, and the more research you do, the more you'll see that. And then obviously a guaranteed minimum result. It's important that I say minimum will always get you to a minimum, but you can exceed that minimum and get to potential maximum results, and beyond that, algorithmic results. Past that. So pretty simple. A lot of people are asking questions like, "Oh, how much does it cost?" Things like that. Pretty simple how it works. So what you'll do is choose a platform like Spotify, YouTube, or Instagram are the three that we power right now, and you set a budget. So campaign budgets start as low as $100. We have a minimum spend per campaign, and then you'll actually be able to see before you pay or before you create that campaign a preview of what those guaranteed results look like before you get started. And then once the campaign goes live, you'll be able to watch um, our dashboard updates every 24 hours with the new stats that are coming in that you'll be able to check out. And we send weekly progress report emails as well for people that don't like to log into things every day. One of the themes that you'll see with Rise is it's designed to be very hands off. So you don't need to know how to advertise. You don't need to be technical. You don't need to log in and manipulate or improve campaigns every day. All of that is handled for you by our system. So, starting small and scaling fast is our mentality. We're not going to come out of the gate and say, hey, you need to spend many hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars trying to promote your music. What we really like to do is encourage artists to start out with actually a smaller budget and in a piece of content or song that they believe in, and create a campaign and see how that goes. And if that campaign performs well, then you can always scale up and spend more. You can always spend more, but you can't spend less. So we always like to recommend people try out a campaign early on, see how it goes, and then analyzing those results, see if it makes sense to keep increasing the budget or running future campaigns on that particular music. Authenticity is a really big deal. Um, so making sure that the traffic, the listeners, the views, the things that we deliver are real. Um, we have a very thorough playlist vetting process for any playlist type of placements, and we actually are an exclusive partner with Artist.tools that actually monitors fraudulent activity on playlists 24/7. So anything that's in our system is both monitored by that system, and also we go through a pretty direct in-person vetting process where we actually get on video calls with curators and interview them about where their playlists were built and where the traffic comes from, things like that. Um, all of our campaigns will go through official ad platforms. So if we tell you we're going to be running social traffic, yes, that comes from Meta ads on Facebook and Instagram, or yes, that comes from Google. We are generating views on YouTube officially through Google. There are no kind of shady third party, again, untransparent sources of traffic. And any engagement that you receive, anyone who watches a video, saves a song, pre saves, adds it to a playlist, or anything like that, are going to be real people that are discovering the music.
Hey, Tim.
Um, yes.
Uh, Going back to the ad networks, if you don't mind just flipping back.
Yep.
So, meta ads are largely, the sponsored post kind of ad with a text and either a video or a graphic. That's what we handled in the that tech talk a couple months ago.
Mhm.
Google TrueView ads. What do they just look like? I mean, a lot of people just, when you say Google Ad Network ad, they're thinking an ad banner, or a
Oh,
text
sure,
ad. Like,
sure. It's all video. So it would be submitted a video link, and that could be a YouTube short. It could be a full length music video. It could be a 10-minute video doc about your album. It could be anything, and it's always just a video link. So you're not going to see text ads that are driving traffic to a video. It's always going to be the video is the ad.
so that's another consideration for folks when they're, but usually
Yep.
when people are preparing a new release, um, they're updating their EPK. They're making either a lyric video or a
Mhm,
music
mhm.
video,
Yeah, we
etc.
do a
Right?
lot of lyric videos. Yep. And I'll it'll there's a couple slides ahead that'll talk about multi-format.
Cool.
Yep. Cool. So this is where it starts to get a little bit heavy in information. So I'm going to keep this part pretty brief, and this is the point where you will see a little bit of this in the screen share demo part. But this is where I really want people to actually take some time, go to our website, and read about the different campaign types that we offer, because they're pretty involved. At a high level snapshot, this is what we offer for Spotify. So in short, Cliff Notes version, we offer 4 different goals. And the goals are, what do I want this human being to do with my music? It's very difficult to get people to do multiple things at once. So we have campaigns that are optimized for different goals. So exposure, this is going to be a playlist driven, streaming driven campaign that's going to be more about, how do I get people to listen to my music quickly? Conversion campaigns are very different. Those are going to be, how do I get people to listen to a preview of the song, but then maybe pre-save or save that song into a library? And that's going to be more of a long-term play. It's not, how do I stream the music right here and now, but how do I actually get people to maybe be engaged for the future, so that way they can add me to their library in Spotify, and then get my future releases to um, be saved whenever they come out, and then get algorithmic traction, again signaling to the algorithm gods that people are interested in my music when it comes out, and then getting some of those people to listen to it. Those are conversion campaigns. Active listener, this is something that I reserve typically for people that have, I would say, 10,000 monthly listeners or higher. Active listener is once you've already gotten enough real audience listening to your music that it has some meat and potatoes to it. There's a persona there. There's a certain amount of people that like you already and they're listening to your music, and you want to convert maybe people on the edge, like who might be interested in it but just haven't heard it enough, and get those people to becoming active listeners. That's what this is designed for. So again, as you can see, each campaign pursues a very different type of goal. And yes, you can mix and match campaigns for the same song or EP or album. Playlist growth, this is not what it sounds like. In fact, exposure, one of the reasons we named it exposure is a playlist driven exposure campaign, meaning driving traffic to your music. Playlist growth is different. It's actually if you own a playlist on Spotify, and actually a lot of artists, record labels, distributors, brands, they all own playlists that they curate, and then they build followers on those playlists. And if you guys have playlist brains like myself, then there's just certain playlists I keep going back to in my Spotify account, and I go, oh, I listen to this one when I run, I listen to this one when I drive, etc. If you own a playlist, you can build your own follower base on that playlist, and if you are the one who's curating that playlist, then you get to seed it with your own music and things like this. It can be a good fit for an indie artist depending on your goals, but we do a lot of playlist growth campaigns for catalogs and brands and rosters and things like that. The great thing I mentioned is you get to own the playlist, so you're able to curate again, and then there's a lot of Instagram reach associated with playlist growth because we're again advertising content that's going to get people to check out your playlist. So that's a usually we could spend an hour just talking about each or all four of these different campaign types. So again, I do encourage people to spend time on the website and really start to read about these campaigns in more detail and understand which of these things aligns with your goals. So most importantly, what
Yeah,
do
it's
you want?
interesting to me, Tim, that what's interesting here is if you're a presenter, you're managing a festival, or a series. Folks who produce house concerts are very cautious about promotion, right? But
Yep.
nevertheless, that playlist growth, like that's a common thing to be able to sort of get deeper engagement versus. And then this is a question. A lot of, I think, the recording artists and performers we've got even here in this virtual room today have extensive catalog,
Yep.
um, and so that's a question that I think I've heard quite a bit, which is, all right, I might be coming out with a new EP or a new long player, but I've got this great catalog. How do I leverage that? Is that under playlist growth or is that somewhere
Playlist
else?
growth, playlist growth is great for a catalog. Yep, I would definitely recommend that. And if you have enough catalog that's in a similar enough genre or theme or mood, that's definitely a great way to go. And you're getting people to be subscribers of that playlist, right? And so if the music is good and the curation is good, that's going to increase human behavior to come back and listen to that playlist more than once. um, so it really can work. We can guarantee, and as you'll see, we have different types of guarantees for things. We can guarantee to deliver a certain amount of traffic to that playlist. We don't do things that are inauthentic. So we can't force someone to follow that playlist, but they will follow that playlist if the curation, the branding, the music, and all that stuff is good. And we've done some incredible, I'll put it this way. Rise has been responsible for growing TikTok's viral playlist on Spotify. So we're we're the engine behind growing some of the most powerful playlists
Yeah.
on Spotify,
That's a little
for
bit of a
sure.
mind warp right there. But then
Yep, yep.
just to punctuate another point, so playlist placements under exposure, that's like the music discovery, like the Discover Weekly playlist on Spotify is like, you know, curated by them, or wait, it's curated by an algorithm for me on Spotify, right?
Yeah, and just to make a clear recommendation for folks, um, my if you're just coming to Rise for the first time and you have a song, you're like, "Hey, I want to promote this song," I would highly recommend creating an exposure campaign for the first time as the first campaign, and um, that's going to get the song proposed to be on playlists for a playlist that would be a really good fit for the music, and that's going to get the most people to come and actually stream the music in the shortest period of time. Rise, I like to distinguish. Rise is not specifically a playlist pitching platform. Obviously, we have more of a tech product that offers a lot of different types of advertising, but playlist pitching is one of the more effective ways to get people to listen to the music in a short period of time that are well aligned genre wise. So I would recommend if you're like, hey, out of all this, I don't know what to do. I'm not ready to start a massive 6 month playlist catalog growth campaign, but I do have a song that I want to promote. I'd go on and create an exposure campaign and start there. And then once you kind of understand what these campaigns do, then you could kind of branch out. And on your next release, you'd probably go, hey, I'm going to create an exposure campaign and a conversion campaign for this next one because now I understand the difference between short-term listeners coming in from exposure and more engaged potential long-term fans coming in and actually following me and pre-saving or saving my music and so on. And again, all of these things, you'll keep seeing the word algorithm. We all hate this word, but it is the necessary evil. Algorithmic traction. Algorithmic traction is what we're looking for in all of these things. So Rise is going to get you to a guaranteed minimum or potentially beyond that of real activity, and then we're really hoping that the algorithm takes you beyond that and makes a bigger splash, a bigger wave. So um, I'll keep going. So make
Okay.
sure if that's okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So we got a little bit more to get through.
Yeah.
There's quite a wealth of information. Unfortunately, I wish there wasn't. Um, cool. So I talked a lot about these already. So I'm going to skip through this in the interest of time. When we were sitting on that slide, these go through more specifics about the four campaign types that I just showed you. So you're not missing too much here. Again, all this information is on the website, and it just sort of talks about some best practices and details. If you say, I want to run an active listener campaign, it's going to tell you that this is the best for visual assets, things like that. Um, Playlist growth, we just talked about that. And getting into this, YouTube, great. So previously mentioned this. YouTube has recently consolidated their video campaigns into something called multi-format. And so it used to be that we would offer two or three different types of campaigns for YouTube that kind of like Spotify had pursued multiple goals. And so these have become really automatically optimized for different formats. So what that means is no matter what format you upload your video to in YouTube, then multi-format will automatically choose the best performing way to promote that video content so you don't really have to make a right or wrong decision. It will um, it'll automatically try different formats and identify which one's doing the best and then promote the video that way. So all you really need to do is make a great video, whether it be lyrics or music video or social social minded content, that type of thing. um, I'm going to get into data in a couple slides from now, I think. These are new slides for me, so if I mess something up, this might be my third time using this deck. But data is something we're going to talk about in a minute. Obviously, data, everything. But yeah, that's YouTube and very straightforward. I'm so proud to say that this used to take a long time to explain like Spotify did, but now because of multi-format, it's automatically optimized and does the best for you every time. So that's awesome. Um, Instagram, there's a couple nuances to Instagram that I want to mention that are not obvious ones. So, Instagram, we offer two different types of campaigns. Profile visits here. This is going to think of this as like an evergreen discovery where if you have a great piece of video content, maybe, if you're, I'm just giving you an example where you just happen to have created this beautiful, you're just in your house and you've created like an acoustic version of some performance that a lot of people watched when you posted it did really well, and it just catches the attention right away. Then what we would recommend is setting up that video to be an asset that you use to drive profile visits. So if someone's scrolling through and then they see this video of you performing, like, wow, like that vocal is just amazing, who is that? Maybe you guys have seen a video like that. This is a profile visits campaign, something that's a hook. How do I get people to come into my profile and be like, who is this person? I want to check this out. The profile visits campaign is, there's never a bad time to run one because people are always scrolling. People are always willing to discover talented artists if they see the right video. So this will get people to click on your profile. And if your content on your profile is good, then they might follow you. And that's where you get followers from.
Yeah, quick, Tim.
Um,
Most
Yep.
people, I think, in this audience are super aware of the success that Jesse Wells, Monrovia, and Carsey Blanton have all had in the last 18 months, maybe 2 years.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Is because we would see their video shorts, and I think they were ads. Am I right?
100%. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of ads from people like that, and it's performance based content is really strong too. So like anyone that like if you're an EDM artist, it's a little more tricky. But if you're a performer and you have if you play instruments and things like that, then you're going to see like Monrovias of the world, where it's like, oh man, it was just what a great song. Like, and it says sponsored on there. Um, and that's a great thing. So I hopefully we've all clicked on that ad before and been like, wow, who is this? So yeah, you're talking about the right thing. Um, Engagement, really quick. Um, this is promoting a piece of content on your profile that's already posted. Typically, that's just going to be an Instagram reel. And what we recommend heavily for people, this is for release promotion. And so what that means is whatever the best video that you can create to promote your new song that's coming out. And I don't mean like me with a PowerPoint presentation boringly talking to you, but whatever your identity is, your brand, your personality, whatever the best piece of content is that promotes that particular song, then this type of campaign is going to promote that specific video for that specific song. And what we want to do is get the likes, comments, and saves going higher on that particular post. So that way, Instagram is, again, algorithmically going to be more likely to recommend it to more people who are not following you and get more engagement on that. So then you can see that as a way for people who don't yet follow you to then discover your music or your new song release, in addition to the people who do follow you because it is posted on your account. So those are the two separate goals for Instagram. I feel like if I don't explain that decently in the eyes of an artist, then this slide is a little weak. So those are why we recommend those. Targeting. A lot of people. This is it's been a very never ending topic that goes back and forth, and everyone has a different opinion. But here's what I can tell you: running um, an unbelievable amount of campaigns is that we simplify it. Is the best way I can put it. A lot of people in their minds are like, I have to get uh, people who are in a bad mood that live in Wisconsin and Nebraska and Kentucky to listen to my music because that's who my people are. Um, the answer is, as we found through the data, that the best people to listen to your music are the people who are most likely to engage with it. Doesn't matter where they are. And again, we're not trying to sell concert tickets. We're trying to just build an audience anywhere that people will listen to me is where I want to be. So our global is the default setting for most of our campaigns. Global has had a negative connotation because there's this story in people's minds that this is like, you know, um, people in a third world country who are listening through a bot farm, and that's just simply not true. Latin America, for example, is Spotify's number one market, and so we we don't shy away from other countries where there are English speaking listeners on premium Spotify accounts, or YouTube and other platforms for that matter, where they're engaging with this type of music. We target them based on what kind of music that they like and what kind of music you're promoting, not where they are. But for people that are very concerned about it, we do offer Big Five. So those are US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and premium English speaking audiences. So for people that are like, hey, I kind of really only want like major markets to listen to my music, you can always select Big Five. It's just slightly more expensive. And that's a great option for a lot of people as well. Some campaigns we do offer customization beyond that, and those are typically going to be active listener campaigns or campaigns that have a higher budget, and we can actually work with Henry. If you're spending larger budgets, and we can discuss those types of things as well.
Tim, Chris Valillo has a quick question.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Tim. I'm great information, but it all seems to be focused on music. I'm interested in promoting an event. I have a very important opportunity coming up, and I want to focus on promoting that particular event, both for an audience thing and just for the sheer impact of having that word out. Is this an appropriate mechanism to do that type of campaign, or is it strictly song oriented?
Great question. I That's a difficult answer because it's possible to do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't
Okay.
think Rise is the best platform to promote an event as compared to music. But to answer very, very fast, for example, if you have a video that you're using to promote the awareness of that event, you can go and create an Instagram engagement campaign and make that video the focus of the campaign. Same for YouTube, those types of things. So, yes, you can do it, and it will generate you results. It's it it depends on what your expectations are. So, if you take into account everything that I'm sharing here about finding listeners and things like that, that's what our data is built on.
Mhm.
So we can run those campaigns for you in an automated fashion. But yeah, if your expectation is, hey, I'm selling tickets to an event, and if I don't get ticket sales out of this, then it's a failure. Then it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah, I don't anticipate selling the tickets is going to be the issue. It's a very small black box theater at the Steppenwolf in Chicago, but it's important, and that is a real high bar. So I want to promote that. I'm pretty confident I'll sell this show out, but I'd really like to take advantage of the opportunity to maximize the impact of playing there.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't use Rise to run that campaign.
Okay,
I would have gone to the previous webinar about meta ad campaigns that you can build yourself. That's what I
okay,
would. That's what I would. You're gonna do because targeting is right what we're talking about now. So
yeah.
yeah, you're gonna be highly localized targeting for people that live there and want to show up there and sit down in a seat. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend using Rise to promote that particular event. But
Okay.
not to say that you couldn't get results.
I assume I can probably find that previous video somewhere on the farm archives.
Oh yeah, and I am right now posting to the chat the direct link to that webinar.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, never be afraid to become your own meta ads expert. It's sometimes a tall order, but if you're doing something like that, it can be worth it. Um, cool. So in the interest of time, I'll keep going through, Miguel, if that's
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
All right. Pricing structure, how does it work? We have two options. You can either do a one-time campaign, which is exactly what it sounds like, or you can do an ongoing subscription. About 50% of all the campaigns in our system are on subscriptions. And there's two reasons for that. One, they're discounted from the single one-time campaign price. And two, most artists are releasing music on a consistent basis. And so they have new things to promote on a regular basis. So subscriptions make a lot of sense. Either way, we do have options. So you can run a single campaign, a one-time campaign, and check it out and go, hey, what does this do for me? What are these results? How does it work? And go, yeah, it went really well. I'm going to make a subscription now. So that's really up to you. Yeah,
And
simple.
then that's like
Yep.
$100 minimum. That was like $100 minimum for the one time.
It depends. We have different types of campaigns and different platforms, obviously. So it ranges from between 100 to 250 for the entry level budgets, and then you're welcome to spend anything you want above that.
Yeah, the kind of the humorous little anecdote I like to share is like, oh, gee, yeah, I used to spend so much money on flyers and a staple gun to get them up on all the telephone poles in my.
Yeah, and think
that's
about that. Putting a flyer on a telephone pole is a really good anecdote, because you put it up on the busy street and there's 12,000 people that drive by that particular day, and how many people see it versus how many people stop and like look at it closer or take a picture of it or grab the flyer off and go, okay, I'm going to go check this out. It's like a conversion rate of like 0.2%, and that's like a pretty funny analogy of real life versus the internet, because on the internet you just don't have to go with the stapler. You can just click a button. So that's cool. Keeping going. Secret sauce. This is, to me, as the owner of a company and has been building this for a long time, this is my favorite part. This is all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So what is the engine room? What's going on there? And so no other platform in the music marketing space has this. This is well, at least the first two, and this is what I'm personally excited about, because it makes guaranteed results and repetition for every campaign you run possible, and doing it at quality and at scale is a really big accomplishment that I'm very proud of our team for doing. So the first thing is proprietary audience data. What this looks like is, let's just say you come in and you have a rock song that you're promoting. I'm just being very, very, very round here, but just for example's sake, you have a rock song and you want to promote to people who are likely to listen to rock music that's going to be music like yours. Let's just say we've ran 6,240 rock campaigns in our system previous to you. Every single artist that's come through to promote that music has connected their audience data with us. So we have this enormous data bank of listeners and pixels and segmentation that we're able to put music in front of people who are most likely to listen to your music based on historical data that we have proprietary access to. So even if you wanted to go create a meta campaign and you couldn't go find those 6,000 different artists that I just mentioned and go add them to your desired reach, but our system has it internally, so it does happen for you automatically. So you're kind of building on the success of everyone who came before you when you come in. So that's one major thing. We have spent millions of dollars on advertising music across these different platforms. And because we're an open platform that has no restrictions, anyone in the world can use the platform. We're not like, just say, a record label that has 100 artists on their roster and that's the only data and the only artists they care about. We serve a global market, so we're harvesting all that audience data and information for the benefit of everybody. Second to that, and this is more important than that in a sense, is we actually have built the other side of the marketplace. So for you guys as artists and one event planner, we've got the people who are desire results, right? We sell you campaigns so you can get people to listen to the music and so on. On the other side of that, we actually have a brand called Tout, Tout, that has a web app, a playlist network, discovery engine, our own curation system where we actually have people coming to us who are looking for music recommendations actively. And so we're able to recommend music to people in our in-house audience through the Tout network directly. So when you come to
What's
Rise,
the user base on Tout nowadays?
we've got we've converted over 1 million fans here, which is, if you can see the small text, hopefully, over 1 million listeners in the past 4 or 5 years, 4 years now. And then we actually have people opted in to have us send them new music recommendations and curate playlists inside their Spotify accounts, so that we're acting like a very small Spotify within Spotify. So we're actually, people subscribe to recommend playlist suggestions to them. So those are two things, and think of this as how it works. So if you're like, oh, how do you guarantee results? These are some of the methods in which we're able to do that. And then here's the other thing, real advertising team. Everyone on our team has multiple hats, I would say. Most of us are musicians to varying degrees, from myself, more of like a hobby guitar player kind of guy, to artists like our Henry can't be here today because he's on tour with a band that he's in right now, for example. So we understand music because a lot of us make music and have been in the music industry, but we're also professionally advertisers. And when I think that's an important thing that the gentleman that asked a question about promoting an event before, can we do other stuff? Yes, but our expertise is in music. And so when it comes to understanding the artist's dilemma and goals, I think we connect to that pretty strongly. And so we kind of combine our advertising expertise with what it is specifically that everyone is looking for at from an artist perspective. So couple things on that. Here's a little screenshot of our very simple music discovery engine. So people will come in and they'll be able to select different genres, and then it's as simple as listening to a preview of the music and then liking it or skipping it. We love when people skip music. It's a great thing because people are very picky about music. The more they skip, the more narrow the focus is of what they actually like, meaning they're going to be more likely to um, become a fan and enjoy the music long term because they're not going to just be liking music arbitrarily. So that's just one facet of Tout. There's quite a lot. Again, we could do an hour just on Tout. So um, to wrap this up and do a quick demo, I know we're kind of running up at the end of the hour here. Best practices, consistency is probably the most important one. Um, that's pretty much where most people fall off. They run one campaign one time, get some results, and then they go, okay, maybe not, maybe not next time. The consistency is pretty much the most important part. The rest of it is nuance, like understanding how to combine certain campaign types for the best outcome. Dashboard, I mentioned that earlier. I'm about to show you how to set up a campaign. And then results, I didn't really get to talk about case studies. I usually like to let Henry do that because he's intimately familiar with a lot of our best stories and artists that come out. Um, these are just a couple quick snapshots for you to check out. But our website has tons of case studies on there. So don't think like, oh, can you send me something? There's lots of them on the website. So make sure to check that out. I know this was in one of the questions, Miguel, is who can use Rise? Everyone. So we have everyone from independent artists in every genre. We have major labels that use the platform. We're official partners with BMI for PROs. We have Symphonic and AWOL, NVIDIA, and Monopoly, and lots of other distributor partners. Some more closely integrated than others. We do serve a lot of managers and agencies as well. So there's not really any particular profile of person who can or can't use the platform. Some of our customers, I need to put logos in this, note to self. Some of these have been customers for a very long time. Network's been nearly a day one for us. But yeah, we've got these. This is not even the beginning of the list. We have a, a metric ton of different customers. Quotes that people say, you guys know how this goes. They say
Yeah.
nice things, they leave 5 stars. Okay, let me get into the demo.
Yeah.
If you guys have questions after this, support@rise.la is the best place to go with questions. Send an email there and somebody will get back to you in a reasonable amount of time. That is the best way to contact us. I know it sounds like, oh, I should just email you directly. You'll be at the bottom of a mountain and I'll get back to you in 2 weeks. Going on, quick demo. I just walked you through a lot of stuff. If you are just coming to the website and after everything you've heard, if you're still here, I was not as fun as I promised to be. I took this way too seriously. That's totally my bad. Campaigns and pricing is the page that you want to start on. This is going to kind of be the mirror of the presentation I just gave. You'll probably see a lot of similarities here. This is the page you should go to first to learn what you're looking for and what to create. And then once you're ready, there's going to be a create button at all times up on the website. This product is being rebuilt from the ground up. It will be night and day different and probably 20 times better than it is now. That doesn't mean you need to wait because the results for the campaigns that you're going to get are just as good today as they will be in the new product. But our new product is coming out pretty soon. So I'd say we're summer release. It will get onto our announcements and you'll know about it. So when you're ready to create a campaign, I'm going to do this very fast so we can have just a few minutes still to do a Q&A. And then, believe it or not, I have more of this type of thing to do right after. Choose a platform. Again, we talked about this in those slides. For our sake, we'll throw in a Spotify, put in a quick info here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Throw in my email here. Once you submit this, it's going to take you through a campaign builder. Again, by the time you get to this screen, you should already know what it is that you're coming to create. And I'm going to know that, as I mentioned before, a Spotify exposure campaign is a great place to start. So we're just going to call this song Wolves, and then we're going to do Spotify Exposure is the name of the campaign we're creating for ourselves here. Campaign's going to start, we'll just say next week for this one. So this is coming out next Friday, theoretically. And I'm going to call back, if you guys remember, one time or subscription. You have the option to do either. So we're going to start with a single campaign. A lot of the things that are listed here in this text, these are just pro tips and best practices. That goes back to the things that I was talking about earlier. So at this point in time, we know that we're here for an exposure campaign because what we're looking for is people to discover and listen, start streaming the music, shortest path to listeners right there. My budget, as you can see, for an exposure campaign, the minimum is going to be $250, and it's going to propose an estimated minimum reach across the network here as you enter this in. As you type in a higher budget, it's going to increase that number accordingly in the number of people that particular campaign is going to reach. When you see the campaign flight can take up to 60 days, that's a potential maximum. Most campaigns run much more quickly, but we do have to put out something like it could take as long as this. If there's any difficulties reaching your goals, it can take longer. Typically, it does not. Most of our smaller budget campaigns, they run within 2 to 4 weeks, give or take. Sometimes they're faster, sometimes they can take a little longer. Once you got your budget plugged in, billing info. These are all kind of optional fields for people that need record keeping. And then once you get in here, you're going to complete the payment at this point. I'm going to stop it here just so we have a few minutes and we can do some questions. But I will just tell you that you're like, hey, I didn't even put in my Spotify profile. Right after this screen, this will lock in the campaign. And then there's a bunch of details that go into setting up these campaigns, many more fields and questions that you need to fill in. So to make things really simple, sometimes people don't have a link or they don't know the answer to a certain thing. So we allow you to get the campaign in the system at this phase, and then right after that, you'll be able to continue the setup. And then once you're in with the process, you connect up your audiences and then confirm everything. And then you'll be sent to your dashboard. And voila, that is the tour. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to chat for a few. And again, support at rise.la if you guys have questions after the questions after the questions. And I hope you do.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
for
Tim.
allowing me to bore you. You're welcome.
It was great. And the detail helps because context is needed. The first question that came in, Paul Sproul asks, do you do any work that allows the artist to own the relationship with their audience without dependence on corporate platforms?
Great question. So he's talking about owning the direct, say, contact information, say like an email address or something like that. We don't currently offer that. It's not something that Rise is really set up to do. There's quite a long list of reasons and explanations as to why that's the case. Some good news and some bad news, but no, not currently. And go back to the original goal. If there's some cases where it's not possible, right? And let's say the exposure campaign that I just showed you how to create, there's not a situation where we're even getting that listener's contact information either. So nobody can own that besides Spotify, because Spotify it is the necessary evil that we live with. But there are situations where, like on the Tout network, the listener is subscribing to Tout, not to the artist. So they're giving us their contact information. We had done some experiments early on where we would have like multiple opt-ins and things like that. And unfortunately, the artist just kind of threw the contacts in like a general newsletter spam kind of thing, and then just started spamming the listeners with like show dates and merch and stuff, and it was just not the right relationship. So we've opted to maintain the relationships in order to get the results that both sides are expecting fairly. That's the short version of that answer. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, yes, and I would add that people should be aware of what PII is and also what the Can Spam Act of 2004 what is. So PII is personally identifiable information. So I gleaned from your presentation that it's general information. It's kind of like general profile information, the listener aggregation through Tout and through the other sources, your campaign sources, for example, does not go all the way into like name, address, city, state, zip, phone, email.
Nope.
No PII.
Definitely not.
But what kind of profile does it gather? Like demographics, psychographics would be what kind of music they tend to listen to. Demographics, general.
Sure.
Gender,
age. We collect information from pixels and audience data on the platforms, which would be things like that, which we have permission for as a somebody as a platform, a company that's operating within the terms of service of those different ad platforms. And then for our own internal audiences and things like that, we're given explicit permission for certain things to, to take certain actions or communications with people. And actually, it is. It is actually against the terms of service, like you're talking about, Miguel, for us to take contact information of a listener and then give it to another party. So it's a little complicated,
Yeah, very.
but in short, yeah, not currently,
Yeah. And
but
then
it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, and then a little bit of context, because Spotify keeps coming up. I mean, I think we're all, as a community within the Folk Alliance community broadly, super aware of like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube versus YouTube Music. Those are kind of an interesting duality. But Bandcamp is important to us. Things like that. Does the Rise platform only? I guess, well, you showed it's Instagram, YouTube,
And
and
Spotify. Yep.
Spotify.
And we used to run tons of TikTok campaigns, but due to the uncertainty of the platform and some other performance issues with their ads system, we in the beginning saw lots of great results when we first started offering that, and then we intentionally pulled TikTok from our platform because it was unfortunately our artists were spending money and the results were really poor. And so we've made a conscious decision to eliminate TikTok from our platform at this time.
And so we are pretty much at time. I do want to offer to the entire assemblage, if anybody has, please raise your hand or unmute yourself if you have any additional questions out there. Cyberland? Anybody? We
I
good?
just now clicked on the screen that shows everybody.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much for everybody coming. There's so many tons of names and icons and faces on here. Thank you guys so much for showing up, and I promise I actually am way more entertaining than usual. I think I just got in the zone and blacked out, but next time I'll promise I'll be more fun. Yeah, really grateful for you guys. Thank you, Annie and Miguel, for putting this together. We hope to do more stuff with the different chapters and hopefully next year with international as well. And we'll keep doing what we're doing. I always tell people we're not going anywhere, so come find us.
Well, and speaking of which, Folk Alliance Region Midwest, as you can see on my lovely wallpaper, has the 2006 gathering coming up in October. Visit us at farmfolk.org to get more information about that, because the reason you'd come to the gathering is to showcase and to jam, but also to learn more about stuff like this. And the Folk Alliance International Annual Conference is coming to Chicago in January of 2027. And we're looking forward to that because it hasn't been in Chicago since the early 1990s, and we're the Midwest, and the Midwest is best. So
awesome.
Tim, Jack, thank you so much. Annie, what's next on the
Hi.
I think
Yeah, what's next on the agenda? First of all, thank you both. This was great. Really, I feel like I need to go and watch it again, which is always good. So thanks so much, Tim, and thanks, Miguel, for bringing us along. We have obviously a whole bunch of virtual connections happening, and the best way to find out what's going on is, of course, to be subscribed to our newsletter. So if you're not already subscribed, please visit farmfolk.org. I've just posted the links. You can also look at what's happening with virtual connections at farmfolk.org/virtual connections. We will be having our virtual mentor sessions next month, lineup or roster to be announced. Performance Lane sign up opens this Thursday. If you have not yet performed at one of our Performance Lane showcases this year, you can sign up. So watch your email for that. And a whole bunch of other good stuff happening. Oh, concert presenter peer gathering is tomorrow night. That is for concert presenters only, but if you identify as a part-time or full-time concert presenter, you are welcome to attend. Join that conversation. And that is all I'm going to blather on about for now. Thank you, Miguel, very much. Thank you, Tim, very much. And y'all,
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
thank you, everybody, for attending. Paul, I saw thanks. Okay, great. All right. Yay. Good to see everybody. We're going to have a big, abrupt farewell, the big, abrupt Zoom farewell. So prepare yourselves. I don't know what's happening to Miguel right now. It's freaking me out a little bit. But all right. Have a great day, everyone.